Welcome back. In this episode, we're going to take the design that we made using Figma Make, and we're going to put this design into Bolt.new, and we're going to have Bolt take our design and output it into code. So this is where we ended in the last video. So pretty good that Figma Make made this. So now let's break this down and let's get this ready for Bolt. So there's a few ways that we can do this. Ideally, we would want one long screenshot. So this entire page could be just one long screenshot, but there's a few ways to do that, but it's actually a little bit harder than it seems. There's like some Chrome extensions we could use, but we're not going to deal with that for right now. So what we're going to do is we need to break down this entire design, and we need to give this design to Bolt. So one limitation of Bolt.new is it only allows 5 images. So we need to take this whole page and make it into 5 images that can be stitched together by the model on Bolt.new. And so what I like to do is we're going to make this page a little bit smaller. So on Mac, I'm going to do Command minus, and we're going to make this just a little bit smaller so it's easier to, the model still gets that like it's smaller. So I made this at 80% viewport. So now I'm going to just do a Command 4 on Mac, and I'm going to take this whole section. So I'm going to do one screenshot, then I'm going to scroll down here. It ended on this little like gray part. So I'm going to keep a little bit of the gray in the image so it kind of gets that it's one continuous image. And I'm not going to screenshot the nav bar again, because we're going to have in our prompt that it should understand that the nav bar is sticky. So here I'm going to do this one again. So that's 3 images. Then if I zoom out one more time, I might be able to fit all of this. Yeah, I could fit all of that. Okay, so that gives me 4 images. So that looks good. And so now let's paste all of this into Bolt.new with our prompt. Okay, so this is the prompt that we're going to use, and I will include this in the link below, in the video description below. And we'll go through this real quick. So we're explicitly telling the model that it's going to receive multiple screenshots, ordered from top to bottom, that they're not separate pages. The model does a pretty good job on Bolt.new. It does a pretty good job of following this. And then specifically, we like to give it the inputs and the outputs. So the inputs here is we want a landing page. We only want HTML, CSS, and minimal JavaScript. We don't want TypeScript. We don't want React. We don't want any frameworks. The reason for this is because it is much easier to host a static site, which is just HTML, CSS, and vanilla JavaScript, than having to do a separate build step of like TypeScript, React. We just want static stuff. And so then we explicitly tell it that we say we want the output files to be HTML, our index HTML, we want a style sheet, and then we want a small JavaScript. And we explicitly say only if needed, or otherwise it kind of over indexes on JavaScript a little bit. So we have to explicitly say, use it sparingly almost. And then we give it a little bit of visual fidelity here. We tell it to match the screenshots, to use semantic HTML. We have a specific spot for icons because otherwise it defaults to emojis. And so we want it to use Lucid icons, which is a nice icon library, and it's available in vanilla.js. I'm sure you could use like Font Awesome or something. I like Lucid just a little bit better. We have an index right here on the sticky nav bar. Then we give it a couple responsive pieces right here. So we have a section for the desktop. We have a section for mobile right here. We explicitly call out the mobile hamburger menu because otherwise it like scrunches it together. And so to explicitly call this out is important. Then we have a couple section specific stuff that I ran through before that it needs to index on. Like we need our, if we go back to the design part right here, we basically want our trusted by homeowner section to be scrollable. We don't want it to stack. We have a couple other section callouts right here. Then we give it some specific interactions that we want it to index on, and then we give it just a couple more implementation notes. And so this is our prompt. Like I said, I'll include that in the video below. And so let's now jump into Bolt and give this to the model. Okay, now that we are back into Bolt, I'm signed in, and you should, I'm on the free tier, so you should be, if you just grab this prompt, it should just work on the free tier without burning too many tokens. So first, just so we don't forget this, let's include our screenshots, of which there should be 4. So let's just grab each of these in order. So we'll paste in our screenshots. Let's come back into here. Let's grab this whole, let's just grab our whole prompt and then come back into here. So it pasted that. That's probably fine. Oh, probably because it was just too many characters. So what we can do, so that looks fine. So we can give the model even more context here. So let's type this out. Included here is 4 screenshots to follow, along with, what do we want to call this? Along with a text file of our requirements for this prompt. Please follow the requirements and build out the static site to spec in the requirements file. Now this will take a little bit to run. This will take a couple minutes. So after I click build now, let's see what the model comes back with. Okay, so the model came back with this. Now, this is really common, I've noticed on Bolt. So if we go back for everything, so it was the 4 screenshots and then it got our instructions here. I think it included as a separate file because it was too many lines, I think, but that's fine. And if we look at what it included right here, I'll build out the static landing page following the requirements. So it got this file along with our screenshots. And so this is a very common thing I've noticed on Bolt, that the first iteration comes back like this. So I just come back into here and I just like to say it's just a blank white page. And so there's some error that happens here. So normally it's like some JavaScript import or something. So just normally just prompt it as a little follow-up prompt and then it normally fixes it. So let's see what it comes back with here. Okay, so after fixing that, it came back with this. So this is pretty close. Let's go into full screen for this. Give it a second to load. So this is pretty good. This one looks like it's active. We could have that fixed. So it did listen to our prompt. So this is where this section right here, the service area, this is just where we would put like a map we would just get a key from Google for this. Let's see what this looks like for mobile. Okay, so this is a little cutoff. We'll keep that in mind. So this looks good. This is like a small stylistic thing. We could fix that. But this is scrolling, so that works. Okay, so that's still active. We'll fix that. This looks good. These all look good. Nice that this is in 2 rows. Then I don't mind a long footer right here. Instead of we could stack these columns together. We could make company say right here and services right here. But I think a long footer is fine. So I'm noticing 2 issues. I'm noticing this top bar right here is a little squished, and then that this is active. It has the red outline. But pretty good for a one shot. This is pretty good. So let's exit out of full screen. Let's come back into the model. And what I like doing is giving it a little bit of, here, let's get out of responsive. It's giving it a little bit of reinforcement. So I like to say something like, this looks great. There are 2 issues I'm noticing. On mobile, we'll call this emergency dispatch active. On mobile, the emergency dispatch active section is a little squished with the nav bar. And what I'll actually include a screenshot of that. Can we make them so they cleanly stack on top of each other in mobile? And then let's scroll down to this section. Okay. And then we can say I always try to give it sections. So I can say in the comprehensive plumbing services section. Let's see, the water heater service box has a red outline. We want no outline on that one, and it should look like the others. And so then what I want to do real quick, let's put screenshot attached for the first one, and we'll come back into responsive mode. I'll scroll up, and then I'll just give it a screenshot of this so it knows what I'm talking about. And then let's include that here. Okay. And then let's run this and let's see what it comes back with. Okay, so it came back with this, and this looks pretty good. It removed for the services right here, it removed the red outline, and then it also got the spacing looking good. So this is on mobile. We have the sticky bar right here. We have the button. We have this. Oh, it added some of this right here, little lines between them. That looks nice. Then this is mobile, so this is an iPhone 17, but even on web, this looks pretty good. And so I think for a one shot, or actually it was like two shots, this looked pretty good. It did a pretty good job here. And so next, what we're going to do is in the next video, we are going to take this form, whatever inputs this might be, and we're going to put these form inputs onto an Airtable or a Google Sheet. And we are going to deploy this site. So we'll get it live where we could share this as like a link, and we will go from there. So thanks again for watching, and we will get this next video up and we'll do the next section shortly. Thanks again, and see you guys soon.